Well, next, it is proof that that military pact between North Korea and Russia signed in June was more than just a symbolic show of solidarity. Pyongyang will deploy thousands of soldiers to Ukraine's front lines, cementing its military alliance with Moscow. For more, France 24's senior international affairs editor Rob Parsons joins me now on set. Hi, Rob. So how significant is this announcement?
Well, it's very significant. First of all, I think we should say that Pyongyang hasn't confirmed this yet, but the information is coming from a variety of sources, including South Korea's National Intelligence Service, Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine's military intelligence service, and they're all saying that somewhere in the region of 10 to 12,000 North Korean troops are already in Russia, in the far east of Russia, Khabarovsk, Vladivostok, Ussurisk, Blagoveshchensk, all towns on the border with China. In the case of Vladivostok, also very near to the border with North Korea. So they're there, they're being trained, apparently. According to the National Intelligence Service of South Korea, they're being issued with Russian uniforms and IDs, false IDs, from parts of Russia's far east, from Yakutia and Buryatia, where the people are quite Asiatic looking, so I suppose they may just be surmising that they could get away as being Buryats or Yakuts. But this is really significant. This could mean, if the North Korean troops are used in combat, that North Korea will be fighting for the first time in its existence in Europe against Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky says this could be the first step towards world war, probably taking it a bit too far at this stage, but the United States expressed concern about it and said it reflected the desperation of Russia in this conflict, in which it's lost enormous numbers of men, at least over 100,000 killed, 500,000 wounded, according to the New York Times this week. Why is North Korea doing it, I suppose, is one question we have to ask ourselves. And, I suppose, and you mentioned that pact that they signed back in June, mutually beneficial in this case. Russia gets the ammunition, Russia gets some troops. North Korea will presumably be getting hard currency out of this. And North Korea has, for the most part of its existence, been a pariah of the international relations. Sanctions against it imposed by the United Nations, including, it has to be said, by Russia, or the Soviet Union before Russia. So this is an opportunity, in a way, to at least get some ally. Whether most people want Russia at this point in time as their ally is a moot point. But from the perspective of North Korea, there's probably not an awful lot to lose. They're sending, as we're saying, about 12,000 troops. It's difficult to see how they're going to fit into the military structures of Russia. None of them, I imagine, speak Russian. They're not being trained for a war like this, so it could be enormously costly for them as well.
Now, that allows us to pivot to what's happening on the ground in Ukraine, Rob. Western leaders met in Berlin on Friday. The French foreign minister is in Kyiv today. What are the Ukrainians hoping to obtain with this meeting, especially as Russia tries to kind of revamp its forces on the eastern front line?
Yeah, well, this is a meeting, so something that should have taken place a little bit earlier, but because of the flooding in the United States, in Florida, Joe Biden took the decision to stay in the United States and not travel to Ramstein for the big summit meeting that was due to take place. This is taking place instead of that, but Joe Biden was there, UK Prime Minister, Ukraine's leadership, France, Germany. It's all about military support for Ukraine, essentially humanitarian, financial as well. But the most urgent thing as far as Ukraine at the moment is getting more ammunition, more shells for their artillery, more air defense systems, more tanks, and they've been promised all of that and more from the United States, but also large amounts of ammunition and equipment from Germany, from France, and from Netherlands and Denmark as well. The French foreign minister also happens to be in Ukraine at the moment, talking about more humanitarian issues than military.
We'll see what comes out of those meetings then.